What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to United View. Welcome to another morning view. Hope you are doing good. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Day before a massive game in Copenhagen. We have to win. We have to win. I'm telling you that now. Win or bust. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what you're up to. You're on your way to work. You're getting your coffee, you're getting your hot chocolate, you're dropping the kids off. You got a day off? Have you got a day off? Are you just chilling?
No.
Are you in bed right now?
Nice.
Just chilling because you're just like, you know what? I ain't got work today, mate. Got annual leave or whatever. Are you getting over an illness? Are you getting over an injury? I mean, are you on the mends? So yeah, let us know how you're feeling. What's going on your side? Who we got in the chat as well? Victor says Ten Hag in. Wayne says hit the like while you wait. That was before we went live. All Elite says God, I miss Sir Alex. Yeah, we're going to talk about apparently some of the quotes that Sir Alex has said, which is good to see. I'm off for 2 weeks, says Shane. Oh, that's good. I hope you're off for good reasons. I hope you've chosen to be off, by the way, which is good. Big up Flex and Owen, says Hopsky. Imran says just watch UV Raw. Josh is a disgrace, a cheat, the vegetarian that doesn't like veggies.
This is, I tell you what, I'm happy. I'm very, very happy because people, do you know what? It's become a bit of a thing within Team UV that suddenly I'm the fussier eater and I'm not having it. I am not having it. Like in that video, I saw him try to worm his way up. Oh,
it's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. Yeah. He's the worst. If we all go out for any kind of meal or whatever, he's the one that's been like, oh, and it's not even like a vegetarian thing. He just... I don't like it. I'll be like, I don't like this, but I'm willing to give it a go. That's the difference.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
There's a lot of things he doesn't give a go. I can definitely vouch for that.
Yeah, he's looking at all of these like bits of food, going.
I feel sick. That's how I feel. I feel sick.
That's what he's doing.
That's literally what he does. Prime says watching from Antigua. 100%. I've been to Antigua, beautiful place, lovely place out there in the Caribbean. Big up to any Antiguans out there. Someone said, oh yeah, there you go. Kristen says don't have work till 1:45. In bed, day off setting, says Avi. And hey, on the way to the gym, says Witterbird. Love that. I've been back on the gym lately. Project lose weight. Project get look better again. You know what I mean? Do better, be better, project, all of that stuff. So big up to anyone else who's on like a healthy eating plan, doing better, doing more, going gym, eating clean, all of that stuff. You know what I mean? All of that stuff that helps us, you know what I mean, maintain our sanity and health, man. So big up. But we have got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Sir Alex Ferguson back in Ten Hag. Apparently some quotes, not from Neil Custis, but from the Sun. And we're going to talk about that. And also, as we've seen just before we went live, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's 25% investment in Manchester United is very close to being completed. That's come from
INEOS.
We're going to talk INEOS. We're going to talk about that as well. So, and I want to talk about a Hojlund support plan. That's what I want to talk about as well. As you can see down there, Hojlund service. He's not getting much service. How do we solve it in the immediate, and obviously in January we know what we need to do. So yes, loads to get into, Owen.
And I've also got Ange Postecoglou rant penciled in for later on in the show. Okay.
Oh yes,
I was very angry last night.
Yes, and I think actually, to be fair, me and KG are going to talk about that on the Flex and KG show. And actually, while I've got you, which I will keep reminding you before we carry on, we will get to the news, I promise. But I just got a lot to bring you. Got so much to tell you.
Why not?
The Flex and KG show is getting sort of an overhaul. An overhaul, yeah?
Yes.
Obviously, it's still going to be there. But all will be revealed when you see the Flex and KG show tonight. We're making good changes to it. You lot are going to love it. So in the next coming weeks, you will see a lot of changes with how it is delivered and what it is, yeah? However, we know you love it, so it's not going anywhere. We're just making it even better, yeah? Better. Anyway, what we got, Owen?
Yes, so again, this one comes from the Sun, which it's not Neil Custis, so
yeah.
Eric Ten Hag reportedly has received a further boost ahead of tomorrow's clash against Copenhagen, the quote, unwavering support of Sir Alex Ferguson. The Sun are reporting that the retired United boss, still a key figure at Old Trafford, is 100% behind the current manager. They've actually got some quotes saying, a source said, quote, Eric has Sir Alex's unwavering support. He's been hugely supportive of Eric since he arrived at the club. He's impressed at the job that he is doing, and in particular, the way he's taken on big decisions. Sir Alex, like everyone else, wishes results were better this season, but he thinks those pointing at the manager and calling for a change are wrong. Ferguson thinks he's shown the kind of character and mentality required to turn the club around, and he firmly believes Eric deserves time, like he got, to make a success of things at the club. If consulted, that's a position he would be prepared to make clear to any new investors who come into the club, basically suggesting that if INEOS were to ever seek his opinion on anything like that, i.e., what do you think of Eric? He's going to say, oh, he's great. I fully support him. Which, to be honest, I think on the face of it, you could say, oh, it's quite a big story. In reality, I think in fairness, he's probably done that with every manager post his tenure, right? He was an advocate for giving, David Moyes more time, wasn't he? He's going to give David Moyes more time. Said he really I remember him doing an interview in the United States on I think it's the Morning Joe. But when Louis van Gaal was then, he was asked about him. He went, I love his press conferences. I love Louis van Gaal's press conferences. He was a big advocate for Jose as well, considering, of course, that they have a decent relationship. Obviously, I guess a big advocate for Ollie as well, being a former player. So I suppose in the grand scheme of things, is it massive? Whenever you get the backing of Sir Alex Ferguson, it's big, but it isn't really a position he's never taken in the past, shall we say?
Yeah. I think it just reiterates the patience. And obviously someone like Sir Alex, it's needless to say, why he would be in support of that happening, the support for Eric Ten Hag, because obviously, apart from all the amazing things that he has achieved at our club and why he is Man United, he experienced a lot of hardship when he first came. People forget that. People really forget that. Sort of late 80s, sort of like 88, 89, sort of, until we won that first Premier League, which was the first time in a very long time. We struggled. Do you know what I mean? Man United weren't perfect at all, and we have to remember that. And look, I think when you go down this route, so you're saying he's going to be the next Sir Alex, you're clueless. Football's moved on. He's not just going to be
not the same as it was in the 1980s.
Yeah,
and,
that's not what I'm saying. Of course, I'm not saying that. Of course, football's changed. Of course, there's Pep and there's Klopp and Arteta's up there and all these good managers, yeah? But what the point is that a manager still needs time. And more importantly for us, if you just look at our own situation and nobody else's, we're in a position where the managers are just a revolving door at the moment. They come in, the same thing happens, they do all right for a little bit, then it crumbles. It's happened with literally every single manager in exactly the same way. If that was any other thing in life, and I don't even want to do the cliche definition of insanity is, I'm not even going to say that. In any process in life or system or place of work, or even just in your own personal life, if the same thing keeps happening to you, it could be, I don't know, it could be at work, it could be with friendships breaking down, it could be with the gym.
Yeah, I was exactly going to say the same thing with the diet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your diet, and you're trying to do healthy eating, but it keeps failing. Something, there's a block there. Something has to change. You have to do something different. So I think that Sir Alex, obviously with his own personal experiences, what he had to go through at the club before he was even successful, obviously, goes towards why he would think that. Obviously, he's a Man United legend and wants to see us return back to the top and believes that, stability and belief and calmness will help us do that.
Yeah, and also I think this is why we as United fans sometimes have to be a bit careful, I think, because we get infatuated with other managers and other players outside of United, and we go get them in. And then when they come to United, 9 times out of 10, certainly over the last decade or so, they fail. And then you have to ask yourself, well, why did they fail? And a lot of the time it's because the atmosphere, the structure, everything at United is incredibly toxic and incredibly difficult to succeed. We were talking about this yesterday, weren't we? Talking about Harry Kane. Like, I know it was definitely not going to happen. They were never going to sell to us. I get it. But hypothetically, if Harry Kane had come in, we probably, or certainly the narrative from the media right now, in November of his first season at United, we'll probably be discussing how much of a flop he is. I can't believe we spent 100 million on him. No chances. United are shit. All that kind of stuff. And it's the same with other managers. People talking about Roberto De Zerbi. Get De Zerbi in, who, by the way, is struggling at the moment. No wins and 5 in the Premier League. And the next question, I couldn't take the step up. Couldn't make the step up. It's constant. It really is constant. So if there is someone like Erik ten Hag that has showed, at least, albeit last season, not so much this season, winning a trophy, success, then we've got to the point now where we're probably right to latch onto that and go, how can we make that bigger? How can we make that more sustainable, as opposed to let's just start over again. Again,
over again,
and have another rebuild, because we even part of the reason why some people are saying with Ten Hag that he's struggling is he's still got players from different eras. And I say, look, whenever you take over a job 2 years in, you're always going to have people from different eras. That's just football. That's how it works. But then it would be silly, would it not, to be like, okay, let's get rid of him and add another era into this squad and add in
with the same regime, by the way.
Yeah,
let's not even see this manager with the new regime. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. That does make a lot of sense. Because people did this, and this is actually a good segue into my Ange Postecoglou feelings, right? People have been saying that about Ange Postecoglou this season in Spurs. He's only been there, 11 games, and he's got a style of play, and why don't we have a style of play like that? And, I don't really push back that much on that, because I go, look, fair enough. I'm not going to say that Ange Postecoglou hasn't done a good job at Spurs, because he has. In fact, I remember saying to you, this wasn't on camera, but during the summer when he was announced, I said, Flex, you were like, I don't know, Celtic to Spurs. I went, honestly, Flex, I've seen him at Celtic. He's a good coach. They play really good football. And it's going to be interesting to see if he can make that step up. But he's a really good coach. So I really do rate Ange Postecoglou as a coach. And I don't mean it to come across like I don't. But when people that are really latching on to how well Spurs have done this season, I go, well, actually, you look at maybe some of the bigger home games they've had this season against us. We should have had 2 penalties. Clear as day. Garnacho handball, Pellistri foul. That was a penalty. Against Liverpool at home, Liverpool were robbed in that game. Make no mistake. They scored a goal that was a goal. VAR determined it was a goal, and it still wasn't given. And they got a red card in that game as well. And then Spurs scored in the last minute. Last night against Chelsea.
They have 9 men in that game.
Yeah, I think it went down to another red card. Yeah. Last night against Chelsea, that eventually the 2 men did get sent off, but they should have been sent off way earlier, way earlier. A 2-footed tackle that some people justify as, well, he didn't make contact with Sterling. It doesn't matter. The fact that he didn't make contact saved Raheem Sterling's leg, because he would have had a broken leg. Romero could have and should have been sent off earlier on for kicking out. And also, Chelsea had a goal ruled out for offside, which is one of those ones whereby he's interfering with play. But it didn't have anything to do. It didn't have anything to do with it. So I'm looking at that. I'm going, wow, you're getting decisions in your favor then. Okay, they've still got a style of play. That's cool. But then last night, when you go down to 9 men and then you play the football that Ange Postecoglou was playing by playing literally 7 across the halfway line, and then after the game, people are praising it. People praise it. Jamie Carragher was on Sky Sports and he said it was almost genius. You lost 4-1. And that is when, and I know sometimes opposition fans or even sometimes United fans don't want to hear woe is Man United. It's just, they're all against us. But that is just the difference in treatment from the media. Because if Erik ten Hag or even some other coaches went down to 9 men, they'd be talking about the discipline. The discipline at Manchester United is just terrible. They've lost their discipline. And then 2, if you went down to 9 men and played naive tactics like that and got pumped 4-1, then they would be saying, I don't know what he's doing. Why don't you just try and get behind the ball and try and get something out of the game? It is just ludicrous. And I like Ange Postecoglou, but there appears to be like just a reluctance to be like, what are you doing when it comes to like that? I don't get it.
It's because people are seeing it as refreshing. So I'm with you. I tweeted, I said, why is he getting praised for that? The tactics were naive and stupid. When Klopp went down to 9 men, what did he do? He got everyone
behind the ball. And they scored in the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. He had 5 at the back and 3 in midfield, and it was just compact. And did anyone say that was Conte-like? Did anyone say, "Oh, look how boring he is"? Or no, it was great, immediate in-game management.
He did against
Super
Newcastle as
firefighting.
well. Remember when they went down to 10 men against
Newcastle when they went down
Newcastle?
to 10. Like it was, and you could argue that there's different ways of doing things, but they lost 4-1. And let's be honest, you're not taking into context that Chelsea are shit as well, because Chelsea, let's be honest, should have been if they worked out how to play against that 9 and worked out what they need to do, and they had Nicholas Jackson who was able. I know he scored a hat trick, but could bend a run.
It's the worst hat trick I've ever seen. Honestly, I know they all count, but oh my God.
Exactly. So let's not take that. You know, if you went down to 9 against any other decent side, right, it would have been, they wouldn't even have got a chance to be at nearly 2-2 and all of that. That's neither here nor there. But continuing to play with that high line, there was only ever going to be one outcome. You could see that they were just waiting on the line and just running. It was only, and they were doing that, like you said. That wasn't like the last 3 minutes where you got to go for it. They were doing that from like the 60-something, late in the 60th minute, whenever the 9 men happened. They were doing it from then. And Chelsea were just trying to get, obviously Pochettino was getting angry because Chelsea are a new team and they're young and a bit feeble. So they were getting a bit panicky. All I had to do was relax, get men high up like that, bend your run, you're in.
That's
it's
it.
basic Sunday
wait
league.
a pass, time you run. And honestly, I was sitting here as a neutral watching it, getting frustrated, going, this is so basic and you can't do this. And like I said, Jackson scores a hat trick, but and he celebrates, he's doing the sue afterwards. And I'm like, mate, there is not a lot to be suing about.
Sue against 9 men.
I know, but
yeah, people see it as loving him because he's new, he's fresh, and people, I think think it's refreshing that someone sticks to their principles no matter what. I call it stupid.
Naive.
In that situation. Stick to your principles largely, but in that situation, but Abby tweeted me online. She was like, "Oh," on Twitter, she's like, "Oh yeah, and your manager could never." I said, "Good. I don't want my manager to lose 4-1 with 9 men playing high line. I don't want Man United to ever do that. Ever."
It's Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Against a poor Chelsea, a mid-table Chelsea side, let's be honest. Like they are not all that. And I appreciate him coming out afterwards and doing the whole, well, that's how we play. And he talked about the officials and you got to accept this decision. And again, I've appreciated the way that he spoke to the media this season as well. He did a really powerful speech on mental health. And again, I like Ange Postecoglou. I do.
He's a great guy.
I do. But there is such a double standard with all of this kind of stuff because I could not believe what I was hearing and watching last night, where you've got a team that lost 4-1, showed ill discipline throughout the game. Again, both of the players, they could have been sent off twice. It was they were that reckless, and they're getting praised. And then at the same time, you've then got the media coming out for someone like Erik ten Hag and slagging him off because his English is still a bit iffy, or the stuff he wears on the touchline. Oh, his suit's like this, or he lacks charisma. And is that what we're really saying now then? Tactics be damned, as long as you're, good value or you've got good charisma, that's what will give you a bit of extra time, or that's what will give you the benefit of the media.
It's what endears you to the media, that we've always seen that. The big characters, the media do love them because it's easier for them to engage. It's, more for them to write, easier for them to like, easier for them to loathe. Like it does create sensationalism when you get characters like Jose, when you get peculiar people like
even Pep,
Rafa Benitez, Pep. Arteta's quite, you're not sure what he's going to do. There's a lot of managers who do give you that freshness, and Erik doesn't really fall into that. He's not really, that's not how he is. That's not his character. It's not. He's not like Ange. He's not like Pep. He's not like Arteta. He certainly isn't like Klopp. He's not like any of the other top managers in the league. He isn't.
He's awkward. He's awkward.
He's a bit awkward. He's a bit stiff. It's just how he is. But at the end of the day, couldn't give a shit unless, I just want him to win. I will say this. I will read this though, just quickly. It is from Wikipedia, but it's just interesting that for some of the younger viewers who maybe don't know what it was like for Sir Alex, in the 89-90 season, right? Basically, Man United were on a bad run of 6 defeats and 2 draws in 8 games. And the fans had a banner saying 3 years of excuses and still crap. Ta-ra Fergie, famous banner, right? And there was a game in the FA Cup in 89 against Forest, right? That Sir Alex also described like the late December '89 as the darkest period he's ever suffered in the game. And there was a game against Forest, right, that was basically branded as if he loses this one game. It's like quite a famous game. You can Google it. If he loses this one game, he's gone. He's gone. The fans were against him. There were banners. And imagine that now. Imagine, so, obviously it's Sir Alex and nobody knew what he would go on to achieve. And again, not so you're saying if we don't sack Eric, he's going to go on to win bloody 30 trophies at Man United. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is what Sir Alex had to go through. So it's interesting to remember. And we went on and won that game against Forest. And that was always deemed as the game that kind of saved Fergie. Because then literally from then on, it literally was just up. It really was. So my point is that, of course, he's not the next homecoming of Sir Alex Ferguson. Of course that. No one's going to ever be that again. But sometimes you do need to use history to try and help you, affect the future.
Yeah, it's the famous article, isn't there? It's the famous newspaper article, Fergie Must Go. And again, this is around this period of time. And it goes on about it. It says, the time has come for Manchester United to sack Sir Alex Ferguson, or Alex Ferguson at the time. He's been in charge for more than a year and has spent $2 million, which was a lot of the time, on new players. Yet the team is now even worse than the one he inherited from Ron Atkinson. United will never win. United will never win United will never win anything while he's the manager. And I think this was an article from Jimmy Greaves, and he said,
"Who wrote that?"
And this is he sort of pushes back. So that's the it's a letter. It says this week's Star letter comes from Brian Marriott in Cambridge, right? So he says Ferguson must go, and Jimmy Greaves responds to him, and he says Fergie is under pressure, but getting rid of the boss won't solve United's problems. It's the majority of the United team who should get the sack. The club have signed a number of players who should have all done a decent job for the side. But with a couple of notable exceptions, none of them have done the business. They got Atkinson the axe and could do the same for Fergie. They don't have enough pride to play for such a great club like Manchester United.
Sounds like now.
If that's not, echoes of the past or echoes of the future, which is basically you've got a fan writing in to a major newspaper at the time saying the manager's this, the manager's that, he must go. And then you've got an ex-player, an icon like Jimmy Greaves, right? Going, no, actually, if there's anyone who should get the sack, it should be the players. Because why? They've got other managers sacked in the past. And let's not pretend that Ron Atkinson didn't win anything. Won FA Cup at Man United too.
Exactly.
So he's basically saying there, look, actually, blame the players. Don't blame the manager because they should be doing way better than they are.
Says the parallels are incredible. And Show says Fergie was left an absolute mess by Ron Atkinson, by the way, similar to Eric Ten Hag now. And again, some of you could be joining in now saying, what are these two pair of idiots doing? Just looking back in the late 80s, you ain't got a clue. Like Court Star said, their circle of life. We're just trying to draw parallels to situations that happened before because it's the same game. Like football has changed a lot, but the principles of it and what it is are still fundamentally the same. And the ingredients and recipe that you need for success are still the same as they ever were. If you don't have the board, the owners, and the manager all in sync, working in tangent, like when AV was talking about experts in all the areas, you're not going to be a good institution. You're not in anything, whether it's Pizza Hut, whether it's a football club, whether it's a bloody car salesman thing, car showroom, like whatever it is, you ain't going to be good. Everything needs to work in tangent, whether it's music, arts, entertainment, film, whatever. You need to have the right directors with the right producers, with the right editors, with the right actors and actresses, with the right runners, with the right makeup artists, with the right CGI people, everything. Yeah. Things like Avatar, like it ain't gonna be that if is that Steven Spielberg? Is that Steven? No, it's not Steven
James
Spielberg.
Cameron.
James Cameron, sorry. Super famous director. If he ain't got the people in and around him, James Cameron can't just make that by himself. He can't.
No, it's true. And again, I think it's almost staggering actually how similar that situation is, whereby you've got again a fan basically saying, "Look, get rid of the manager; it's not getting the results." And then you've got an ex-player who, don't get me wrong, ex-players aren't always right, but is saying, "Well, actually, these players have failed the manager previously. that some of them have been brought in and they're not good enough, or they haven't delivered the way that they should. And we can name several right now that's the case for. And maybe they should go. And that's what United, we've been saying before, that's what United need to send that message to the players going, look, if it's going to be a choice as to you or the manager, like, it's going to be you now. We'll get rid of you. Like, that just is what it is. And hopefully with INEOS, which we do have some more news on, hopefully they'll go on that route.
And not just like you or the manager will get rid of you, more or just he ain't going anywhere. So fix up. One of them, like he's going to stay. You're not going to outlast him and all this stuff. So if you want to be here and he wants to put you in the reserves or he's not going to play you, you're going to have an awful time. So shape up. Do you know what I mean? Aminor says, will the Flex and KG show allow members to phone in? It doesn't at this current moment it's going to be in a new format, but could be something we look into. You know. But it will be a little bit difficult with the plans that we've got for it, I'll be honest. But yes, but it will be live. It will be live. You lot are asking, can we have the Flex and KG show live? When can we have it live again? It will be live. So again, not today's one, but from today onwards, all will be revealed today. Make sure you watch the Flex and KG show today to see what it's going to be. Let's move on a little bit, Owen. Yes, there was a little bit from INEOS.
Yes, so they have said that once INEOS takes control of the sporting decisions at Manchester United, Paul Mitchell is likely to be appointed the sporting director, and Jean-Claude Blanc is likely to be made the CEO, which again had been widely reported. And I think at this point, if that doesn't happen, it would be surprising, to be honest with you. They've also said that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's 25% investment in Manchester United is very, very close to being completed. They did, to be fair, not just the Muppeteers, I think it was Sky News, not Sky Sports News, Sky News, last week said that it was very, very close to being sort of ratified. I think they've provisionally put it towards the end of the month, I think something like that, for it to be completed. But at the end of the day, look, you never know, because I remember, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when, you know, Sheikh Jassim pulled out and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's winning the race and all this kind of stuff. It's going to be Thursday, the Thursday board meeting. And then very quickly people went, oh yeah, this is actually quite complex. It's maybe going to take a little bit longer than get into Thursday. But look, if they're saying that it's going to be the end of the month, I would hope, and my position on this has not changed a modicum, Flex, because okay, if it's the end of the month, cool, but do we have those key things written down, black and white, on paper, in legalese? You've got effective sporting control. What does that mean? What does that look like? Okay, Joel Glazer's on a football committee. Does he have veto power? Does he have the power to, I don't know, make the final decision? Again, what does that all look like? And most importantly, is there the roadmap to a full buyout? If there is a roadmap to a full buyout, then I can get behind that. It's not as immediate as we would like, and maybe it doesn't, you know, to some people it doesn't have the cash that Manchester United fans would have wanted, but the cash has never really mattered to me. We don't need a sugar daddy. We don't. All we need is someone that's willing to invest and not take money out all the time. So if there's a roadmap to a full buyout, I can get behind it. I can, but I need to see that. I need to see that. I'm not blindly willing to accept that that's going to be the case.
No, I think with it being reported, obviously the Muppeteers will see who else sort of, you know, says this in terms of big outlets. But with it being very, very close, it would suggest that at least behind the scenes, that there are things in place to answer all of those questions you'd like to. But again, with the Glazers and this football club, you can't bet your house on that, can you, really? And we do need to see it. It'd be very interesting to see what INEOS's statements are. And like you said, when all these details get released, because I'm pretty sure they have to, of what it is, they'll have to have some address to the fans. They have to get us on board.
Well, it's a publicly traded company as well, so a lot of it literally has to be legally disclosed anyway.
Exactly, it has to be disclosed. So the fact that it's very, very close, I mean, look, we want change, don't we? Of course, a lot of us, I'm not going to say all, because that's not fair, because some people are completely fine and have been the whole time with it being the potential of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS. A lot of fans opposed it because it meant that the Glazers are staying in one way or another. But I think, obviously, with time already, we've had to start getting our heads around it and move on from Qatar, move on from Sheikh Jassim. It's got to become a distant memory because it's not happening. And we all eyes now need to be on Sir Jim Ratcliffe and what this thing is going to be. What's this thing going to look like everything you just said. So, but also, we kind of do want it to hurry up and happen. because we need change. We can't carry on like this. It's not working. We just want to start it. We now have accepted our fate, which is basically not a full sale, not whole Glazers out, but Glazers relinquishing some power, which seems to be a start. But more importantly, as the reports are suggesting, which again we don't know the mechanics of, INEOS and Sejin Ratcliffe taking sporting control with only 25%. How does that work? Why does it look like it? And also, we're seeing things about Paul Mitchell likely to be appointed as sporting director and John Claude Blanc to be made CEO. So, look, these are welcomed changes. You know, if we have a sporting director of Paul Mitchell, he's got a fantastic resume. We've been
same with Jean Claude Blanc. He's got a fantastic resume from rebuilding Juventus, not the sort of corrupt Juventus,
not that
Juventus. The Juventus coming out of the scandal and building a new stadium and removing the debt and actually laying the foundations for Juventus to be a team that won Serie A for like a decade. You know, he was part of that, and also when he was at PSG, he was very, very, very big when it came to branding PSG to what they are today, which is a massive brand. So, like I said, those additions, absolutely, of course, they're welcome. They are very, very welcome. But they are the as Ralph Rangnick would say, they feel like the sort of not minor cosmetic changes. When you get a new CEO, that's a big change in any business. But again, the longer term and most important one, and they have stressed, and the Muppeteers, they have stressed this too, that no, if they didn't have the possibility of getting to a full takeover, they wouldn't be involved. And they wouldn't.
And you'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
So exactly, and that's why there was, I guess, this bit of a delay, because they want to make sure that those things, sport and control, and the roadmap to a full takeover are in place. So you would hope that if they're saying it's going to be at the end of the month, then they're close to figuring out what that looks like. Call me skeptical, and I think it's healthy to be skeptical about these kind of things. Would the Glazers be willing to paint themselves into a corner in a few years' time that they could actually be effectively bought out, because they didn't want to give up power right now, did they? So why do they want to be?
They just want to secure minority investment to keep things ticking over so they can stay as long as possible. That's how I read it with the Glazers.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? That's not what they're on. So watch this space. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you are new, remember you can join the members club if you would like to. You get your exclusive members emoji, your members priority chat. You get to call in exclusively on full-time view with Owen, where you're around the world. You can all call in members. Put testament to that in members. Let the other people know who aren't members. We're not lying. You get the chance to call in. Also, you get your UV Raws, which a lot of people have been talking about at the start of the show as well. And yesterday we had VK who gifted 10. He gifted 10 memberships as well.
Wow. I have some interesting bits of news about the members. So yesterday, I was with Josh, brainstorming, going through a bit of a creative process, as it were. And I can confirm an Owen siren emoji has been made. It has been made. But there is a but involved in this, because I don't think it's been added to the emoji list at the moment. Let me double check. Perfect timing. Oh, I thought our siren was covered. It hasn't been added to the list. And do you know why it hasn't been added to the list, Flex? Because we are, I think it's like 20 members away from being able to add in more emojis. We've reached the emoji limit at the moment. Okay. So once 20 more get added in, we can open up and add more in. So that's the goal we're looking to hit. So if you haven't already, join the members and you can get more emojis.
Yes, there you go. Jason Ramon as well has done like a little remix of the Owen siren thing for now.
Yeah,
temporary measure. Temporary
but it's good. I've seen what it looks like. It's good.
Good. Paul Song says, "Don't ride the wave. Stand firm behind Eric Ten Hag." And we've got 180 likes with 1,100 people watching. So let's hit the like button as we go to the next.
Not good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Champions League talk. Champions League talk. Obviously, we've got previews coming later on. Me and KG are going to preview the game properly later on.
Have you thought about it that much? Because I haven't.
Yeah, I've tried not to.
Yeah.
Because you know what could be around the corner. And it just feels really big. It is really big. But forget Judge and all that. You know, they can nick it. They're good enough to nick it. You know, we did create chances against Copenhagen. We did. Let's not... Obviously, we should have done way better in the game. Of course. And the first 20 minutes, they were so comfortable. They hit the post, you know. And I've seen a few quotes from their defenders and a couple of their players. They don't rate us. They don't rate us. They said, obviously, Man United got good players, but we expected more from them at home. But one guy said that we expected more from them at home, at their home. But obviously,
so did we.
Exactly. So did we. And then there was obviously, we'll be favourites with our fans. We're not always favourites, but you know that will help us a lot. And I remember their manager as well in the after the game was like, because of the way that they didn't win or didn't even get a point out of it, he was like, we've got enough to trouble them at home. Like they knew, they were like, listen, we could have these. So we do need to show a lot better account of ourselves to quash that. You know, we need to be difficult to beat. Our good players, Rashford hopefully needs to come back into the side. We need to be trying to get chances for Hojlund, which we'll talk about in a minute. Midfield, they need to not get a sniff. Like we really need to control the atmosphere because they are gunning for us. They smell blood. They got absolute belief. And why not? They should have belief. We just went to Old Trafford, 75k, mate. Nothing. Take these back to our place. We'll do these easy.
Because if you think about it, if this was the reverse, say we were 1-0 down to Copenhagen and we got a last-minute penalty and we missed, we'd be furious.
100%.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't think we've sort of considered the other part of that. Like,
no.
great save, but like they should have drawn that game.
Yeah.
Like they should have.
And our own fault is we should have been 2-0 up when we had them chances at 1-0 and close the game out, and we didn't.
Exactly. So they'll look at that and go, well, for all intents and purposes, we really should have drawn that game, maybe even better. So why should we be afraid of them that much?
Exactly.
For us, my prediction still is 2-1. I think it's still going to be similar to like the Fulham game or similar to like the Sheffield United or Burnley game, where we don't play that well. I think just the fact that we've got better players might be enough just to sort of scrape through the game. My biggest concern is the atmosphere and the ability to handle that atmosphere, because we have consistently shown that if we do go anywhere where the atmosphere is like big, loud, honest, not necessarily that we can't handle it, but what we can't handle in that atmosphere is a setback.
Yeah.
When we played Bayern Munich away, we handled the atmosphere fine. 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Onana makes a mistake and we just went, let's just crumble. Happened against Sevilla last season away. You know, actually initially handled it okay. Error, let's just completely collapse.
But then when we played Betis, we handled they were on us a little bit. They were on us, to be fair.
Barcelona away, you know what I mean? Silence the new camp.
We've proved we can handle some. It's not just complete capitulations, but there are some capitulations as well. Like you said, the Sevilla one was a complete capitulation.
I remember you calling me before that game as well. Flex called me before the Sevilla game, and he didn't even speak. He literally just like held up the phone to the crowd, how loud it was, and then the final words were, "I can't hear what you're saying, but it's loud in here." And even going into it, there was an acknowledgement of, "Wow, we've got to really handle this one because this."
And I've done that with I've done it at the
Atletico,
Wanda Metropolitano, it's called, isn't it? Yeah, at Atletico. It's the same thing. You get that feeling, and I can't explain it. A lot of you guys who've been to a lot of games, if you haven't been to a game before, I'll enlighten you to watch, like, especially in Europe. It is so different, man. They even come to Old Trafford, because Old Trafford's not the loudest at the minute. They even come to Old Trafford and out-sing you and be really intimidating. But in their backyards, I'm telling you, it is so intimidating. It's so loud. And you just think of like, it shouldn't be a problem for most pros. You know, if Liverpool were walking out into that, Arsenal went to Sevilla, look, comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, just the other week, we couldn't do that. Even though they had, you know, okay, it might have got to 1-1 or they might have conceded, but, you know, they still got the business done, you know, and managed the atmosphere. You know, obviously City, doesn't matter where they play. They just, it doesn't matter how loud you want to be, mate. You ain't getting near us, you know? So it is a different thing when you look at how fragile our players are mentally, like you said, with adversity. If you go 1-0 down early in that game or something, we almost need, like we've been saying, we need to be almost perfect to win. And that is like, Fulham, we weren't perfect in terms of the performance, but in terms of not conceding, make sure you don't make mistakes.
It's 1-0.
We were pretty much
it's 1-0 or 2-1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always like a goal. It's always win by a goal. You know, whether it's 1-0, whether it's 2-1. That's our like kind of scoreline realistically this season. It's fine. It's fine because we don't we don't blow teams away, because to blow teams away, you got to score multiple goals. You know what I mean? Like that. Realistically, you know, no disrespect to Copenhagen, I know football doesn't really work like this, but realistically, when they look at getting drawn against Manchester United in the group in the Champions League, they think, they could come here, beat us 3-0 or something like that. Realistically, that's what it should be. Or even when we go to Old Trafford, they'll blow us away. They're not thinking we're going to beat them 1-0 and they're going to have a penalty in the last minute. You know, they're not thinking that at all. I mean, because even that game against Bayern Munich, it kind of baffles me still to this day that was 4-3. I don't know how.
Mental. Yeah.
I don't know how, because it's the most non-4-3 game you've ever seen.
Yeah, because they started taking off players and like thinking they got it won, and then it just
the goals were like right at the end of the game as well. One of them was the last kick of the game as well. But again, I do get what Ten Hag means by this when he says you've got to look at those moments, those like 20 minutes, and go like, see, you can do it. So and also understand that football isn't linear in the sense of it doesn't just go, everything goes your way and then you win the game. Football don't work like that. You get decisions go against you. My goodness me, we've had the most go against us this season in the Premier League with VAR. And you sometimes, like Ange said last night, you do have to sort of just go, okay, I know I can't change that now. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. It's a bit of adversity and then just total give up. Wow, it's not going our way today. Football never goes your way. Like, it doesn't. You have to react. You have to respond. And if we do go 1-0 down tomorrow, which, look, that's a possibility, absolutely a possibility, got to react to it. Got to come back. Got to show some fight. Got to show some grit. Because this time, we've done this so much, haven't we? When we go, we'll bounce back in the next game. This time, like, you're out. You're out. It's not like, well, we'll make sure we catch back up in the end. No, you will be out. You know, maybe not mathematically, but you'll probably be gone.
We'll be all but out, 100%.
Exactly.
All but out. Jason says, Fleck, what's the scariest stadium atmosphere you've been in? I wanted to answer that. It actually was Partizan Belgrade when we played them with Oli in the Europa League. That was, we won, I think we won 1-0 of a Martial penalty. I think. Might have to check that. Might have been a bit more than that.
Partizan, Red Star Belgrade, they're almost infamous, aren't they, with the atmospheres?
It was surreal because before the game, the ultras have the keys to the stadium to one side. So before the game, when we done a preview and that, spoke to this guy who was like one of the leaders of the ultras, and they get the stand and they're putting all the stuff down on the seats, like their flags and their banners and that. And he's like, where do you want to go? You want to do stuff? What do you talk to me? When do you think you need? And I'm like, right, you're just the ultras. Like, no club official, no nothing. They have their own keys to that side of the stadium. And then he was talking about like all of the hardships they've had and stuff like that. And it was fascinating, really, really friendly actually for the ultras. And then he was explaining to me how like they don't get on with like other ultras. So one side of the stand,
like factions.
They're against each other and they fight and shit. You got the left-hand side they're named after something else. The one behind the goal, that section is a different firm. The ones on the other touchline opposite is a different thing. And then the away corner, you know. So anyway, you walk into the away end and it's like, it's proper intimidating. I got hit by a coin that day as well when we scored. Yeah, on it was mental.
Would you ever want to go to a game in Argentina? Because by all accounts, those Argentinian atmospheres, or sort of South American, but particularly, they always say, isn't it, like an Argentinian football match? Like, wasn't it? I remember you chatting to Alexis, shout out Alexis, and he was saying, didn't he go to Mexico for like a Mexico match or something? Like and they have to take they take your phone off you. They get everything off you.
Football in these parts of the world, mate, is a completely different experience. Completely different. Obviously, it has like complete passion and different levels of intensity and different levels of things that are riding on it. But sometimes, as we've seen, it goes way overboard. Like players are getting mashed up, managers, you know, like it is mad. It is mad. But yeah, the ultras were so nice to me before the game. And then it weren't the same set. It was down the other end of the ground, but then I was just getting coins thrown at us. So yeah, lovely. Just average day out, mate. European aways, mate. European aways. Hojlund support plan sort of thing. Hojlund service. I do want to touch on this, Owen, because and I want to get you guys' input on this as well, because, look, Hojlund can't get a sniff. Okay, let's break this down. We knew we was going to get a young up-and-coming striker who wasn't polished. This is a guy who scored 9 goals last year. So we already know he's not prolific right now. It's not like we're buying a youngster who is like a bit of an anomaly where he's got like 20 goals already. He's proved he can, get back to, when he was 19, he scored 15 goals. When he was 20, he scored 21 goals. Now he's at Man United. The sample size is not big. It's a project striker. So we have to be extremely patient. You can see his frustration. He is just, I feel it as anyone who's played as a centre forward at any level knows the frustration of just doing doggies, running after balls you can't get, getting surrounded, getting crowded out, and hardly touching the ball. It is so frustrating, not even getting a sniff at a goal. There's no supply line into him. We're not playing through him. We're not playing him in. He's just not part of the build-up. He's not part of the game at the moment. I'm not seeing enough of him. And we need to find a solution for the immediate, because we know what we need to do in January. He needs help. We knew this would happen. This is why we wanted Hojlund to be the backup with Kane or Osimhen or whoever it's going to be, obviously Dreamland. But this is why we couldn't rely, or we didn't want to be in a position where Rasmus Hojlund, a young kid who's for the future, has to do it now. Because let's be honest, he can't.
No, I was watching Monday Night Football last night with Jamie Carragher and Daniel Sturridge was on there.
That was brilliant,
and they were talking about strikers in the Premier League, and Hojlund was part of that conversation. And they had the graphic up on the screen of, age and goals this season. And obviously Hojlund's on none. And you feel bad on that list because obviously that's the bread and butter. That's what strikers are judged on, goals. So when they say 0, you go, oh my God, what a flop, what a waste of money, blah, blah, blah. But that's the cold, hard evidence of it without context. And the context is that, he doesn't get that many opportunities in the game. He just doesn't. And like you said, if your supply line is that low, then you have to be, one of sort of the all-timers to have that little service.
You have to be like Mbappe. You have to go get the ball yourself
and create it. Erling Haaland's a great example of that. If you cut off his supply line, the goals he's got at the moment, they'd be cut in half. They would. He's in it. Again, not to say he's a bad player, because he's not. I thought he should have won a Ballon d'Or. But he's a thoroughbred striker in the sense of, he's in a team that creates chances for him. And also the whole sort of primary function of the wide players and the players sort of coming out of midfield is to how can we get the ball into the box to Erling Haaland? How can we get a position for him to score a goal? And that's not the case at United. I don't even know what the functions are of the wide players, or really Bruno Fernandes in the 10. I mean, when Bruno first came in, his function was actually quite clear to see. He was essentially, he was almost playing as a number 9. He was so high up the pitch and in the box and that kind of stuff. And a lot of times it was get the ball to Bruno and he'll score. Now, I don't really know. Like, is he a creator? Is he a goal scorer? Like, is he always trying to find Hojlund, or is he actually trying to find the wide players? And the wide players, are they trying to find Hojlund, or are they actually just trying to cut inside most of the time and score for themselves? Because that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like Rashford or Antony or whoever it is, even Garnacho, maybe a bit more Garnacho trying to find the striker, but it feels like they're constantly just trying to cut inside and get onto their preferred foot and take a shot, as opposed to, are we always trying to find that pass? Is because Hojlund's always making runs, and this is why I also feel bad for him, because you see his movement off the ball is really good, really, really good. He's constantly weaving in and out of the two centre backs, constantly trying to stay on side and just do that thing where you start offside and then you come back on, and it's really good movement, but it's redundant if they're not trying to find you, because it's just that. It's just movement. So I do sympathize for him. And that's why, actually, when Martial's come on this season, why he's looked all right is because he does what Hojlund doesn't really do. He starts dropping deep and starts trying to hold the ball up.
Which is how the team is used to playing. Do you know what I mean? The whole point of us getting this type of number 9, this box number 9, is to be more progressive, is to get the ball in the box more, because essentially we got a number 9 who's going to be there, and a number 9 who's going to run in behind as well and stretch teams. And we're not playing to his strengths. We're not. And he's an isolated figure. He's a frustrated figure, and he just can't get a sniff. He can't even get near it. And it's like, in turn, that makes him look bad. It makes him look ineffective. Obviously, just up against Tim Ream trying to get the ball, Tim Ream just comes out with it all the time. Up against Bassi, wrestling, they just come out with the ball every time, because that's all we're giving him. That's all we're giving him. There has been a couple of mini snippets. We look at the disallowed goal from Brighton where Rashford pulls the ball back. He's there. He should have got a goal. He was unlucky there. We look at Sheffield United. Rashford took a shot, to be fair, but he gathered it and should have scored. And then there was another one he should have scored as well that forced a save from the keeper. That was a pass to him.
Yeah, there was a couple against Sheffield United that he should have scored.
So he should have scored in that game.
But
all the other games.
Yeah, you look at the Champions League. That's an example.
Right?
Yeah, even when he scored against Bayern Munich. I mean, it's right there.
He's that one as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's always there, middle of the box, either just on the 6-yard box or on a penalty spot. Like he'll always be there. Always be there. Against Galatasaray, I mean, we played terrible that day, and he put that team on his back and did everything he could. I mean, the second goal he scores when he sort of runs the pitch, he probably could have passed it to other people, and he went, "I'm not doing that. You're shit."
And the dink as well. It shows that he can be
exactly.
confident in front of goal.
And the disallowed goal in that one with his feet, brilliant. Gets it out his feet, puts it in.
And in the first couple of minutes, we played him in down the side, and he went straight past that Bowie. Is his name Bowie?
Yeah.
Bowie?
Again, it just
right back, and
just
nearly set up a chance.
That team needs to. And again, I don't know if this is what Ten Hag is aiming for. I don't know, but sometimes you have to be like, right. That's his function, is to score goals. So the primary focus of this team has to be, how do we get the ball into him? Not about with the wide players. You have conversations with Rashford, and I would say with Anthony, but there's no point saying your goals are going to go down because you didn't score any. But say to those players, look, I know like Rashford last season, you scored 30, brilliant, but that's not your job this season. It was last season because we didn't have a striker, so we needed your goals. This season, it's changed. It's about getting the ball across to Hojlund. Bruno, find Hojlund.
How much of all of this is down to the things that Eric does say? So one, which we all know, is that it takes time with a new striker, a new style of play, just learning his movements, learning where he's going to be. So just number one, I'm just asking to sort of doesn't have to be percentages, but where are we looking at of why this ain't working? That. The second bit of is obviously the team keeps changing all the time, like from the back to midfield, even on the wings, really, let's be honest. Like the only continuity has probably been Hojlund. He starts all the games. Who else?
Well, he didn't start for the first four games. He didn't even start.
And in the first 4 he didn't. But after that, like I said, he's the main guy. So like, it's probably you can't not look at some of them things as well, as we've been so used to playing one way, which is heavily reliant on a bit of individual brilliance from Rashford or Bruno, or heavily reliant on like you said, someone has to score all the goals. And now we're saying there is a focal point there. Play the ball in, because I'm saying, even if like, what's more concerning to me and what was always more concerning is strikers that aren't getting opportunities. That's worse than Darwin Núñez, who he will rack up more goals because he gets loads of chances, even though he misses open goals.
Because at least the system's working.
The system is working. He's arriving at the right position. He just needs to take his time in front of goal. You can say that. We got a way bigger problem than that, and that is getting our striker involved in the game. Right now, it feels like, and this is of no fault of his own, it feels like we're playing without a number 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think a great example is Manchester City, in a sense of, people forget, before they got Haaland, they went a couple of seasons without a striker. They were playing false 9 every game, and then they brought Haaland in, and they changed. Last season, they changed. They went, right, instead of this, like, oh, is it Foden's going to be a false 9? They had Gabriel Jesus for a couple of seasons, but they never played as a striker. He was always out wide left. Whoever it was up front, they would just play as a false 9, drop in, whatever. Last season, it was like, right, we've got a number 9 now. We've got a striker. We're going to have to play a little bit differently. Instead of it being, again, shared around to everyone, the primary focus is Haaland will be there. Make sure he'll hold up the ball a little bit at times as well. But once you're near the box, find him. Because if you find him, he will score. And it was so wild because at the beginning of last season, people were having the conversation of how that was making Man City worse. They were going to be less successful.
Did he choose the wrong club in Manchester?
Exactly. Or they were saying like, I remember Jamie Carragher, City are playing worse because they're playing with a striker of a focal point. They won the treble, mate. So I think they did fine in the end. But it goes to show that, you do have to, when you've got, particularly with strikers are a key part, obviously, because they score the goals. If you've got your profile of player, you've got your striker, you have to play to his strengths. Sometimes there's a bit of adapting, but when you've got a striker of that mold, of that ilk, you go, right, okay, we just got to make sure we give him service. And then to judge him on goals when he doesn't get that service, it's just, it's incredibly frustrating. And I can totally understand why he would be frustrated when he came off against Fulham, because he's like, yet another game where I've ghosted through it, but it's not like, I'm ghosting through the game and I'm just not touching the ball. I'm not trying. Like you said, you see him resting with the centre backs the whole time, or
all the time,
making the
that's
runs.
all he's doing. He's probably knackered by the time he actually gets the ball to his feet. Like, and I get it. To be fair, I'm not going to take it all off Hojlund. Like, you know, part of his job is to be physical and back into people and win fouls and be ugly and do that side of the game. Because again, we don't have a striker like that, and he is physical. You know, a few times I've seen him take the ball nice on the half turn, hold someone off, get it out to the left to Rashford or the overlapping fullback, and then just get himself in the box. I love that type of striker, old school. You know, if you're talking Van Nistelrooy, you know what I mean. You're talking. I know Berbatov's not physical like that, but just getting the ball in, giving it, and then you're just on the move again. You're not taking too many touches. Obviously, Haaland does it to a very high level. Hardly has any touches of the game. Not everything goes through him, but you can fizz it into him. He's strong as an ox most of the time, unless you're against, you know, a Saliba or a Van Dijk. You know, he's going to win most of the duels where it's going to stick. He's going to set Bernardo Silva. He's going to set Rodri. He's going to set Jack Grealish, and he's off. I've done my bit. I'm in the box. Minimal touches. I love that type of striker. Old school, thoroughbred number 9, which are a rarity right now. And I feel like Hojlund is that type of number 9. Powerful, like the goal against Galatasaray, where obviously Davinson Sanchez slips and he has to run the length of the half, shows he's a powerful runner with the ball. They couldn't catch him up. Usually it's very easy. Not very easy, but usually the player without the ball should be able to catch a lot of players with the ball. You have to be quite quick to not get caught with it. And he didn't, and it was a great finish. So we have seen moments of that physicality, but we're not seeing it enough. And it'd be interesting for him going back to his homeland, back to his former club in Copenhagen as well, and see how he does there. Can we get him more involved? Because I feel for us to go up a notch, clearly, because we've spent a lot of money, we've got to get him scoring or getting shots. Got to get his confidence up, because right now his confidence will be absolutely shot. Smash a like on the video. A couple of super chats just before we leave. Ruben, thanks for the contribution, says we're just 9 points off the top of the English Premier League table.
Funny how it works, isn't it?
Listen, 9 points is 9 points. You know.
Got Luton at the weekend. Get a win there. You never know. People drop points.
Owen, one game at a time. You saw the fight that Luton put up against Liverpool. But that's at their place, to be fair, on a small pitch. But anyway, listen.
It's a disgrace. It's embarrassing. That's how I feel.
Exactly. Luton could easily beat us, mate, the way we're playing.
It's
PJ,
embarrassing. I'm sorry. Embarrassing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. PJ says Erik ten Hag is just a coach, not a manager. So you're saying leave him to let him coach and put all the things in place.
Well, that's what the INEOS reportedly want to do, isn't it? You know, they want to basically take the recruitment away from him and just say, do the team, do coaching, don't worry about the other stuff.
Yeah,
you know, and we'll have conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Jam-packed day for the rest of the day. For the rest of you watching now, Flagy return at 12:30.
Play. I called you after the stream last week, and Flex wasn't very happy, you know, with the way it went in the end. You started well, and I had to give you a bit of a pep talk. Actually, you were like, it's too hard, and I said, well, you won your first game, you know. Yeah,
but it's so hard to defend. I don't know how. Any of you got tips on how to defend on this new FIFA? Because I am terrible.
Don't play with KG the comedian.
Maybe that. And also we're going to have to go
both of you. I've never known performance levels go up and down from both of you, because one game it'll be KG is moving crazy, and then he starts chasing the game as well. So when he's not playing well, he starts trying to do crossfield passes to make himself go all right and back in, and it will collapse. It'll be moving mad. And then at the end of the stream, you were moving mad. You couldn't do 2 passes together. No, it was well,
because and when you play against when you play against these good teams, against it was ridiculous. As soon as you go near, as soon as you get even near, they just do a thing and you just can't get it.
And then Flex Fernandez comes out. You start waving your arms. You start getting angry.
100%.
So that's coming up at 12:30 today, live.
It is. There will be a press conference reaction later on this evening as well.
Before that, there'll be a Flex and KG at 6 o'clock as well.
Exactly. Flex and KG show at 6 o'clock. So listen, you get the gist. It's jam-packed.
And then a press conference.
Don't go anywhere.
6:45 it is. I'll probably be live around 7, maybe just a bit after. Again, with all of these away ones, Man United tend to be late, so it might be a little bit later as well. And then the preview's coming out after that, Flex. Isn't that right?
There you go. So many videos. Keep it locked into United View. Take care. We'll see you in a few hours. Take care. Peace.